in this video I'm going to give you an idea how to make this part. This is our first project, this test bar. After we get done turning this project, we're going to come back and we'll thread each of these 7 sections. So step 1, the first thing we're going to do is cut our stock. You can see it up on the block, 7 inches long. So we're going to cut our stock about 7 1/4, so we'll have a little bit to practice facing off of each end, okay? So we'll probably start with stock that's either 1 1/4, 1 3/8, 1 1/2, because our largest diameter is 1 1/8. So like any operation we do, once we cut the stock, step 1, we'll put it in the lathe. We'll stick it out no more than 2 times the diameter. So we'll stick it out of the chuck just slightly, maybe 2, 2.5 inches, depending on the diameter. What we'll do then is we will face the part. Okay, it's got to be faced. And I've got videos to show you how to face the part. And after we face it, obviously we center drill it. And the center drill is going to go how deep? 2/3 deep. From here to here, it's going to go 2/3 deep into the work. Okay? So after we get the stock, we get the right set of stock, we chuck it up, no more than 2 times the diameter sticking out. We face it, we center drill it, and now we're going to start cutting the diameters and the lengths. Okay, so let me get a towel and I'll erase this. The sad thing is, now that you've got faced and center drilled, you have to unchuck the part, take it out, and we're going to chuck it back up, right about here, about 5 inches sticking out. 4 1/2 or 5 inches is fine. The reason we do that, we're going to turn this 1 1/8 diameter, we're going to turn it to about, we'll go right about here, about 4 1/2 long, maybe 4 1/4. And the reason for that is when we come back and do this other side, we're going to cut back up into that. Okay, so the next step, we're going to cut this diameter here, the 1 1/8, we're going to cut the 1 1/8 diameter by about 4 1/4, 4 1/2 inches long. After we do that, we'll come back and cut this 1 inch diameter, 3 inches long, kind of a crooked line. Next, we'll cut this 3/4 diameter, 2 inches long, and then we'll come back and cut this 1/2 inch diameter, 1 inch long. So this end is basically done. What we'll do at this point, we'll take the part out, and then we're going to face the end. We'll flip the part around. The part we just did is now at that end. So the part's flipped around, so we want to face, we'll have to center it, no more than 2 times the diameter sticking out. We will face the part, and now we take it back out after we face it because we have to measure it. It needs to be 7 inches long. We left it extra long. So say if we're 128 thousandths long when we measure it, then we know how much to take off the face of it. Because the saw doesn't cut flat, saws always cut a little bit crooked, a little bit rough. So all we did was face that in so we could have something to measure by. Take it back out, measure it, put it back in, a couple inches sticking out, and if we need to face off, say, 128 thousandths, we would set our tool. We would put a dial indicator on the carriage like this. We would let the tool touch or be a piece of paper away from the face, and we would face it in slices until our indicator goes around to 128 thousandths. Okay, so we take off whatever we need when we face it. Then we center drill it. So we faced it and center drilled it. Just like the other end. Now it's 7 inches long. It has a center at each end. And then this side, remember we finished it back to about here. Okay? Let me change that. About like that. And then this end is kind of fat. So once we face and center drill this, now we're going to pull it all the way out and we will chuck up on, say, this part right here. This is 1 inch. Now it's best to use some aluminum shims or brass brass shims if you have some brass, because we don't want to put any of the jaw marks into the work. The jaws have little teeth, they will put marks in it, and we don't want that. You could use a 5C collet, put it in, but we've had a tendency, sometimes those will spin on you if you're not careful. Okay, so now we're going to pull our part out after we face and center drill again. We've got that done. We're going to chuck up right here. But remember now, we've already cut back to here. So what we have is a part sticking out like this, and it looks like that. Okay, that's what our part looks like now, because remember when we did this side, we overshot this by about 4 1/4, 4 1/2, doesn't matter. We're going to come back now and set this 3 inches, and now that we're located again, you'll be an expert at the forejaw by the time we get done. Now we're going to come back and cut this. Whoops, we'll make slices, but we're going to cut this 1 inch diameter. 1 inch diameter, about 3 inches long. We'll cut this 3/4 by 2 inches long, 1/2 inch by 1 inch long. And then our part is going to look like this, so it will be over then. Make sure when you pull it out, you deburr any sharp edges. We don't want to get cut or anything like that. So that's basically a very, very fast run through. Luckily it's video, you can watch it again, of how we're going to make this test bar. Okay? And if you follow these instructions, you'll probably be okay, but you know, there are other ways to do it. Some people may like to center drill first and then face, but I always face the part first, get it where I want it, and then center drill it, get it to length, and that way I have a good reference point. Okay? So if you have questions about how to make this part, just shoot me an email, shoot me a text anytime, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And again, as always, thank you for watching.